You hear that? That's a good old Alan Watts. But it's with a bit of a chill step mix. And if you're not familiar with who Alan Watts is, he's an old school lecturer from like the 70s, I think. But how I found him was I was just listening to videos on YouTube and chill step. Then you hear some really cool quotes behind the music, like about Eastern philosophy, about a lot of things that are not what I've ever heard growing up. No, I'm gonna turn that off real quick. Hold on. Let's put on some lo-fi. That's better. What I felt like took forever just now setting this up very probably did. If you don't know me yet, I'm Tex. Tex like Texas. I don't spell my name with an E though, it's just TX. I try to remind myself all the time to take my ego out of the work that I do. I create content, I do a little bit of life coaching. I just try to go ahead and leave a better footprint, a carbon footprint, if you will, in the world than when I got here. There have been a lot of times where throughout my life I could have had it worse. And I didn't. I was adopted when I was 4 days old. I went to private school most of my life. Got a really, really, really great family. And, despite all of it, still suffered through an Oxycontin addiction. And the month I got clean from that, when I was 20, I'm 33 now, I went ahead and found out that I had cancer, testicular cancer, on the solo cholo, if you will. Or testiclops, one of my old bosses, my old chefs called me. The initial reaction that I had was like, yo, how are you, God, whatever, gonna make my life like that right after I get sober? I thought, is this what I'm supposed to be doing? Shouldn't I be correcting like this addiction thing? How are you going to give me cancer now? I don't understand it. It's basically the reaction. I got really upset. And, it was through that 6 weeks of chemo that I had and my 21st birthday. I went through chemo on my 21st birthday. That did develop a little bit of an atheism stage in my life. But I then saw something on, I think it was probably Netflix. It was Trevor Noah's special, Son of Patricia. And there's part in there where he talks about how he was called the South African equivalent of the N-word. And his mom was like, Trevor, you have to take that hate, to wash it with the love of Jesus Christ, give it back to the world as love. And to me at the time, I was an atheist, mostly because everybody was saying, oh, I've been praying, oh, thank God that you're doing better in chemo and everything like that. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Thank God. I am the one that's having to go through all of this. God, it's the doctor and it's the medicine that are helping me. What are you talking about? God. I was still too cloudy in my head and in what I understood about the universe to understand that it's not specifically about God. And here's what I mean. When I heard that in the special, I thought to myself, let me pause this movie real quick and really think about it. And some of the first things that came to my mind were like, well, what if I do what Trevor's mom told him to do? And I just take those negative moments and then I give them back anytime I decide to talk about them with somebody else as like a solution, so that maybe that person I'm talking to can grow from my mistake or grow from my experience that might not have been positive ordinary. You know what I mean? And I thought to myself, geez, that's a huge undertaking. That is huge. There's no way I can do that. But then I thought again, like, wait a second. 1% better today is still 1% better today. 1% better tomorrow is 2% better than the first day I started. You know what I mean? So at the end of the day, 1% still matters when you're talking about personal growth and development and like trying to do something, like working hard at putting your mind through the gauntlet that'll teach it how to go ahead and level up, if you will, and become more understanding of self. I think it was about then that I realized it is incredibly important what you listen to, what you put into your head, all of these things that you don't even understand affect you and your subconscious every day. For me, after realizing that it is possible to go ahead and give solutions instead of more problems, I wanted to go ahead and just like kind of continue that kind of knowledge input. That's when I found Stoic philosophy. That's when I found some just deep thinkers, like Taoist ways of thinking, like Alan Watts. And really all they are lecturers that go ahead and discuss things that other cultures and civilizations have done religiously or whatever, as compared to us in this Western culture. Now, what that did for me is I'm like, wait a second. I'm an atheist at the time, but I started thinking also like, wait a second, all gods have just as much existence validity as they do non-existence validity, right? So like, that's a bit negative of me to go ahead and think that none of them exist, when there is just as much proof to say that all of them exist. You know, it's the way that I want to go ahead and start shaping my mind and how it perceives things. That was an incredibly important lesson that day, because it's the beginning of understanding that nothing is good or bad inherently, right? Nothing, like, who's to say what's good or bad? Who's to say? Is it God? All right. Is it Allah? Is it Penelope, the little doggy over here, my little doggy, my room dog? Who's to say what's good or bad? Because at the end of the day, if you were to replace any of those situations with another culture having gone through that same experience or something like that, it's probably not going to be the same. I mean, that's why we have different languages too, right? So, understanding that judgment on us and all these different types of ways that we box ourselves in slowly and just minutely over our lifetimes, you know, we need to recognize that these things are completely reversible, if you will. The older I get, the more I realize I don't know anything, in the sense that, like, I continue to learn and then I'm like, whoa, there's even more I didn't know about. You know what I mean? So, oh, Penelope, you're so cute over there. Now, I had a few traumatic experiences in my life that taught me these things. But how are those going to help anybody if all I do is complain about them and just take that victim mentality about what happened to me? Poor me. You know, everybody's going through something and everybody's gone through something. What is a firefly to the sun? I mean, they both illuminate, right? One's just smaller than the other. Except if you were to go ahead and put it on a planetary scale, like one, I mean, you know what I mean? Like, these things are all relative. Nothing is inherently, good or bad, really, because what happens after every negative thing in your life? Negative. That doesn't kill you. You learn that you're stronger than it, right? Hopefully. I know the universe and God, everybody will throw out all sorts of different tests to go ahead and see if you're even able to recognize a blessing if you're given one. What do you do when somebody gives you a tool towards a dream of yours? Do you have a dream enough? Most of the gear that I've got, I didn't pay for. It was given or loaned to me by people that go ahead and see exactly what I'm trying to do. And I'm trying to change the world. Now, we'll get to how you can discover that about yourself shortly, but what do you do when the universe gives you a level up, a tool, a hack? For me, I work twice as hard. A lot of people just were saying that they needed XYZ to go ahead and fulfill their dreams, and then when they get XYZ, turns out that was just an excuse. What I've realized in this world is that, like a lot of people, including myself, when we have a mission to accomplish in our minds, we're resourceful. We don't necessarily say that we need this or we need that. We just get it done. And we get it close as we can to what is, the top level of whatever. I started everything that I'm doing now with content with just my cell phone. It was my cell phone and a frustration with how things were being done on social media as far as marketing goes for venues and restaurants, bartenders, liquor brands, all of these folks that I know have hardworking individuals in them and around them. These things were never shown and still aren't shown very often on social media. So what I've done is I've decided to not add that negativity to the world with how I approach fixing the way that something is marketed or something. I go ahead and figure out a way to turn the things that frustrate me into solutions for other people. I originally moved out to Miami 8 years ago before my health insurance that was on my parents' plan went away. And what they told us in rehab, they said, if you all just spent half time and energy that you did getting your fix on trying to help somebody get through something in their life, you will change the world. And that took me a few years to really get a grasp. But here I am 3 years later, almost 4 years. And of my journey, I haven't cut my hair since I started my journey. I've been out of Miami for 8. But after the 4th, I really started trying to take that advice, take my knowledge of restaurants and bars, and focus on how I can gain authority in this industry, right? What's going to make my voice mean something? And again, everything that I've done has come from just sheer frustration, spite, but with a concentration to not add more of that to the world, but in fact give others the tools to go ahead and get over those kinds of things. Let's be honest about social media. It's a place where a lot of depression comes from, a lot of comparison, a lot of insecurities are developed there. And in reality, it can be just as useful as a tool if you understand that you're going to be distracted by it, but you just need to learn how to go ahead and utilize it the right way. When I scroll my Instagram, I don't double tap tits and ass and that kind of thing. I follow business mindset type pages, income and finance pages. I follow motivational things, just life quotes, all these knowledge-based pages, so that when I'm scrolling, sure, the algorithm loves a little TNA and it's going to be there. But what I want it to think that and know that I want to see is knowledge and information, so that at least when I'm subtly thumbing through, I'm picking things up. Then what ends up happening, I can go ahead and share that on my story, and then somebody else learns. And what have we done? We've just taken a little bit of moment that could have been a distraction, turned it into maybe a life hack for somebody that helps them figure out something about their future. And that's something that I got to ask. Where do you see yourself in your future? In 5 years, where are you going to be? 10 years? And don't worry about answering that now, because it took me so long to figure that out. And I hated that question. I had no purpose. A lot of folks just kind of work every day, 40-hour work week, just to get the money to go out and enjoy the weekend. Do you understand how messed up that is? There's a term in Japanese that I love to ask people if they know, because once I heard about it or whatever, however I found out about it, it changed my life. And the word is ikigai. Ikigai. Basically what that is that's just the purpose for being. It's 4 things. What are you good at? What's the world need? What can you get paid to do? What do you love? All right. Now, there are several questions that I have for anybody that ever wants to find out those 4 things about their own life. And I'm happy to ask them to you if you ever want to just reach out. But a lot of the things that I've developed for discovering your ikigai require a good amount of thoughtfulness. I employ a technique that I've started to call second step thinking. We do a little bit of imitate and innovate, but the purpose is to go ahead and show people how to find that little track they need to get on to straighten out whatever they might have that's wild in their head. For me, it didn't come until after 30. They told my parents whenever I was a kid, he's probably going to have to touch the stove to see if it's hot. And instead of just listening and just knowing that it's hot, and I'll tell you right now, 100%. I learned by doing. I learned by failing. That's a great example of what I was speaking about earlier. If you fail at something that you're working towards your dream, I guess, is that really failure? Or is that a tangible moment in time that you're able to examine and somehow figure out how to improve for the next time that situation may arise? You got to be real aware, though. You got to be real self-aware. And that's actually one thing that I've noticed that a lot of addicts have the ability to do. And it's their situational awareness, essentially. They're always aware of who's around them. After they're off the drugs. But because of that paranoia of who's watching me or what could happen, they're always observing their surroundings. I used to sit in like a Walmart parking lot for like 2 hours waiting for 1 pill, 2 pills, whatever. But when you're out there that long, you got to come up with some alibis if the security or the police ever just drive up to you in the parking lot and they're like, yo, you've been here for 2 hours. What are you doing here? So you come up with excuses and alibis. Translated into how I help people with that today, I'm able to just peep everybody around me without having it super obvious. And I'm able to recognize when somebody's going through it. And I'm able to recognize when I'm able to maybe offer some words. Maybe it'll change their perception. Maybe it'll challenge them and they'll hate me. Maybe it'll do, I don't know what it'll do, but I just know that my being aware of what's going on around me has only helped in the hospitality industry, has only helped in the content development industry, has only helped in personal and professional relationships. That shows that you have your composure generally, I believe, allowing you to go ahead and take that moment outside of what's happening to you, what's happening to me, and allows you to focus on how you can help somebody else. I've said it once and I've said it 1,000 times. Service of others is the only way. The only way that fulfillment will truly come. A lot of people do things for themselves. But my suggestion to those folks is learn how to be selfishly selfless. Learn how to be addicted to giving everything to people without expecting anything. Once you're able to figure out how to do that, where you provide value to people you're around based on your skill set, your knowledge, it makes it a whole nother ballgame for confidence levels inside and your attitude and just your perseverance towards what you want to do in the future. But I'm going to go over something else, but I don't want to do that right now. Let's get back to the ikigai. So, what are you good at? What does the world need? What can you get paid to do? What do you love? All right. If you were to wake up tomorrow, money was worthless to everybody on earth. I mean, you don't have any debt anymore. Awesome. But you also don't have any ways to pay for things, right? I'm not sure if you're able to kill an animal, skin it, and, make your own food, cook your own food. But if you're not, what if you wake up tomorrow, money's worthless to everybody? What are you doing now that's going to have somebody that can do those things with animals for your food and your sustenance? What are you doing now that's going to have them worried about whether or not you've eaten? A little bit of a life hack is to go ahead and figure out ways to help people get through something that you've gotten through that was difficult. Start being aware of what's going on around you and in conversation to figure out ways if you can't just offer bits of support and love and create those random acts of kindness, because that's how a legacy is built. A legacy isn't built with just one grandiose gesture by anybody. Anything that anybody built as a legacy was over time. It was done slowly. I mean, it does take 10 years to become an overnight success, they say. So again, if you're not prepared for that, I don't know. You shouldn't be doing what you're about to do. Then you shouldn't even be worried about what your ikigai is, if you will, and just go back to that 9 to 5. So your skill set, who are you without the invention of anyone else? What do you bring to the table when you really think hard? Are you able to lift things? Are you able to, this is really, I'm not going to sit here and think of different reasons or whatever, but how do you provide value to those around you? For example, what I try to do to provide value is that I'm not going to just hang out. If anybody knows me, they know that I do not hang out. I did that in my 20s. I got nothing to show for it. Hanging out with me is where I'll figure out a way to go ahead and help your day, help your future, because there's something about you that being around helps me with mine. So, you wake up tomorrow, money's worthless to everybody on earth. What are you doing? What are you doing to get somebody to worry about whether or not you've eaten? Also, what would you do for the rest of your life? Imagine you're going to live to 85. What would you do for the rest of your life if you didn't have to worry about income? All right? Remember that. It's every day for the rest of your life. So, it better not be something that's like travel. Okay, you want to get in a bus every day? You want to get on a plane every day? You want to do all that tedious stuff every day? Cool. Then I don't think that you do. But before you really answer that question too, let's go with what the world needs. Let's go to the second part of the ikigai. What does the world need? In my opinion, the world needs a lot more leaders. The world needs so much more kindness and random acts of it. The world needs understanding. The world needs empathy. The world needs a swift kick in the ass. The world. But what do you think the world needs? For me personally, I used to weigh almost 300 pounds. I'm 6'3". A girl named Annie Fuller in high school, she told me one time a group of us were studying at her house and I was laying on the floor. And she looked down, she goes, from here you look like a beached whale. Thanks. But the fat shaming worked, let's be honest. And it made me realize, though, there's that kind of fat shaming that she did right there. And then there's all my best friends in high school that called me fat boy. They would call me Mr. Fat Boy whenever I'd walk in. And one time I was like, guys, that kind of sucks to be called fat boy. And they're like, no, it's PHAT. Boy, yeah. And I was like, okay, cool. Not. But in reality, what my best friend at the time told me, he goes, just fake it, dude. Just fake your confidence. He goes, that's what I did. He used to be even fatter than I was. Then he turned into a ladies' man. But it was the confidence. Owning everything about you is not only is it an attractive quality, but it is a reassuring quality. It's a way that somebody can qualify a significant portion of your personality if you are honest about it. Because I was fat, because I went through all that, I know what it is to wish more attention was given to you, but it's not. It doesn't matter how nice you are. It doesn't matter how smart you are. It doesn't matter how whatever. At the end of the day, camera's not going to be on you. Okay. But if the camera's not going to be on you, who's it going to be on and why is it going to be on them? And that's where my difference comes in. I don't traditionally shoot models. I don't traditionally stage photo shoots or video shoots in the sense that because I shoot for bars, for restaurants, or bartenders, the value that somebody gets of watching my content doesn't come from a woman or a man they can't ever meet. Is that actress or actor that they pay to sit in those advertisements ever there when you go to that place? I'd argue probably not. But who is there? Who is there when you go to your restaurants and your venues, your bars? There's the bartender, there's the server, there's the busser, there's the dishwasher, there's a hostess, there's everybody, right? Why is the focus never on them? On us. I've been in this industry 18 years. If the hardest working people in the industry weren't in those venues would not exist continuously. I mean, let's be honest. Most people go out for the name of the venue. At least in Miami, they do. But why they go back is because of the person that made them feel so welcome. Or people. And that represents so much about our universe and our world. Showing that little bit of kindness to elevate somebody's experience when you don't necessarily have to, but because you want somebody to enjoy their day. That's serious. A lot of folks out here in Miami have told me like that they believe everybody's out to get them. They don't trust everybody, and cool. What if they're out to get you to the next level? And maybe just like learn how to qualify people better. What do you really have that somebody's going to take from you? And why are you not okay with losing it? Why do I give away my knowledge for free? No, mostly because I understand that not everybody's going to do it like I do it. Not everybody started their futures, their journeys with the same intent that I have. I wanted to show that waiters can take pride in their job because it's given me all of the greatest experiences of mine in my career and opportunities. And I mean, hell, if you have a side hustle or anything like that, you can talk to each table that you have in a day about what you do. You get little mini rehearsals in front of each one of them. Just by being yourself and delivering that experience, people know that translates across industries. That doesn't mean you're just a good waiter. But somebody that can follow through on these tasks and make things elevated for folks will probably do that in anything they put their mind to. Right? A lot of times it's just perception change to go ahead and understand these things. And for me, it all goes back to the ikigai. What are you good at? What's the world need? What can you get paid to do? And what do you love? Let me go back over mine real quick so you get a bit of an understanding. What I'm good at is observing things. For instance, in the kitchen, I could see what the chef did to the dishes that he was really proud of, and the cool little tricks and secrets that they know about cooking. And then I would observe my guests enjoying it. And what would happen is I would go ahead and translate why they were smiling. I'd transfer that moment from the chef. I'd go ahead and word it differently to go ahead and really paint a picture as they were enjoying it. And that would create the emotion within them that rounded out their experience. Because at the end of the day, tipping is about psychology. It's not about knowledge. If knowledge was the most important thing about anything, there would be no competition. I'm sorry. If specs or knowledge of a certain situation was how we qualify anything, then there would be no competition with things. You just have that best one. But where the free market, I guess, where all these competitive edges come from with branding and such are the story. the psychology behind it. What do people want to get behind, There's a lot of different psychology things that will influence how a person spends their money. Now, that being said, let's back to the ikigai. For me, what am I good at? I'm good at translating those moments. I'm like an alchemist almost. I will figure out a way to make sure that others can understand each other a little bit better. Now, what does the world need? In my opinion, the world needs more confidence and the world needs more pride. The world needs to understand that they are powerful within and that they're able to do it. I think the world needs that, and I think it can be shown on social media. I think it could be shown by showing people how to brand themselves where it's not like BS. There's like very genuine ways to develop content around things that you're passionate about. My favorite thing to do is to tell people that I don't need to stage anything and I just can go in there with whatever. And I can find those moments anywhere because they exist everywhere. Now, I'm only able to understand that, though, because my perception of the world, again, is not negative. I don't think that something happens to me for a bad reason, because who's to say it's bad? I think that things happen. I'm aware of them. I'm aware of how the universe blesses me with difficult circumstances, as well as very easy circumstances. But it never delivers me something that I can't handle. I mean, it will like repeat those lessons in different forms and fashions. But it's never given me something I can't handle. And it's never given me these moments that were for nothing. And it's only been in my later part of life, I guess in my early 30s, that I've been able to understand that I am blessed daily by so many serendipitous moments of hearing something exactly that I needed to hear from a stranger. Meeting somebody I needed to meet because I smiled at them when they walked by. The most disarming thing in this city of Miami is a high energy and big smile. It's the most, you'll get an honest response from anybody at that point. But it's again about our mindset, right? The world needs to know how powerful they are. What can I get paid to do now that we're going back to that ikigai? What can I get paid to do? I can get paid to create content. I get paid to take pictures, videos, write. But did I go to school for it? No. My great-great-granddad was the first president of Baylor University in Waco, Texas. I am the first in my family to drop out of college. Ironically, I was first in my high school for close to 3 years, I think. Till the dreads. The thing is that my mom's always said, you're going to do what you want to do. It used to be a negative thing. You're going to make your mistakes how you want to make them. But what I was doing, I was following my intuition. Unfortunately, I have an addict brain. And addict brains love to want things. And just because we want it, it does not mean that we need it. And in fact, a lot of times that's the wrong thing that we need. So, understanding that I'm going to be wrong a lot in life is insanely important. But I need to know how to find those around me that will guide me towards what I'm going for, despite however I may get my own way. It's been almost 4 years of absolute grinding on what I'm doing to stream everything you see. If you've seen that I've created, I want to travel the world. I'm going to travel the world, discovering why those in hospitality do what they do when it's not for money. Because in the US, we get paid a lot more to do what we do. But the times that I've been to foreign countries, and so, those people are so kind and so amazing. And you can tell that it's not for money that they do what they do. It's a coincidence, and it's logical that the money comes in, though, because they care about what they do. You know, you can't go ahead and say, pay me and then work. That's not how people earn money. There's a level of expectation that somebody paying somebody has a performance, and it's like going to a restaurant. You pay at the end. In my opinion, same thing. Why I've taught myself photography and videography over the last 3 years from YouTube was because I realized that if Trump or Biden can become president, let's be honest, Jesus, what's going on? Both of those guys became president. I can do whatever the fuck I want to do. I can be whatever I want to be. Doesn't have to make sense. I heard a quote one time that said, they'll call you delusional until you make it. Then they'll call you a visionary. Okay. I'm down. But originally I wanted to teach waiters how to be better waiters, right? I wanted to travel. I still want to travel the world, going to different places to understand why people do this. Hospitality, for, not the money reason. But I started thinking, how am I going to get there? How or why is any other waiter going to listen to me? I started blogging to waiters. That wasn't going to fly. Servicewithstandards.com. Not another food blog. I took those moments in waiting tables that could have been considered negative. Again, negative. And I showed people where the opportunity lied to level up. And now I only wrote like four posts that were like 2 or 3 pages long each. But what was fun is that they were told from the perspective of the waiter, me, as if you were a guest at my table. And so I used jargon. It's really like me just waiting on the table, but I was actually writing about how to be a better waiter. But when I realized that wasn't going to really fly and I wasn't going to reach as many people as I needed to reach to go ahead and show them the benefit of taking their job a little more seriously, I was like, how am I going to do that in Miami? Oh, that's right. Using the ego. So I'll just go around and learn how to take pictures of people and doing what they're doing. I'll learn how to go ahead and reach people through candid shots of them when I know they're doing a great job. And I know I can get a great picture of them. Because again, like I said before, I used to be fat, so I understand what it is to not want certain angles to be seen. I mean, hell, I taped my boobs down with Scotch tape a couple times in high school. Like, I felt like they were so coney. Understand? My boobs, I felt my little boobies were so noticeable that I chose to try to Scotch tape them down. So, making sure people feel comfortable around a camera is paramount. But also, social media and videos and photos, that's how my generation is branding itself now. Personal branding is a big thing, especially since most of our generation, my generation, is going to have a gig-based economy. At least that's how we're operating now. And because of that, it blows my mind that people hide behind humility for why they don't want to learn how to get comfortable in front of a camera. I always wondered why somebody wants somebody else to tell their story for them, or dictate their life for them. When in reality, you can just go ahead and learn how to be confident in front of a camera, which translates into tremendously better speaking abilities in general. I am able to take out the ums in most of my sentences now because I hate editing them out. It teaches you to be a little more concise, a little bit more careful about the words that you use. Words matter, inflection matters, message matters. So reaching people based on their ego, that's how I was going to make mine matter. How I am going to make mine matter. I will show the world how to take pride in what they do, because it needs it. What I can get paid to do is create the content. And then what do I love? I absolutely love taking moments where people don't understand their true awesomeness or beauty or just soul. And I am able to show it to them. Whether because they trusted me to take a photo of them or I snuck one in. Transforming somebody's perception of themselves is quite possibly the greatest feeling I've ever had. It's an absolute pleasure when I scroll through pictures on Instagram or like scroll through people who are online or whatever, and I see all the pictures that I've taken that are profile pictures. That's how I know I'm reaching people. In fact, you'll know I'm reaching people, world, whenever you start seeing marketing completely tailored to the employee that they're proud of, right? If owners, managers, everybody just would read Setting the Table by Danny Meyer, it would tremendously help them out. Let's not even go into it. But what I believe can happen is that by an employer going ahead and taking the time to showcase the people that make the experience at their venues so special, that's going to build a little bit of trust between the employer and the employee, so that the employer is able to go ahead and ask them for those favors of hard work and dedication. And the employee won't go ahead and feel like it's being just pulled out of them, for the sake of the business. Well, for the sake of the business, what about the sake of whoever's working it? This ain't communism. How do you inspire a team to go ahead and be proud? You show them that you already are. If it takes the first olive branch from an employer to employee, I think that's the least they can do. Let's be real. How many times, if any of you watching this have been interviewed for like a corporate position in anything, and they say, what makes you unique? What makes you you? And then on the first day of orientation, they're basically like, okay, forget all that. Learn how to be a cog in our wheel. Like, if you didn't want to know what's unique about me, then why'd you ask? If you didn't want to know like these things, then why'd you ask? Probably should have been just like, can I do these basic things? Sure. But that's also not how you inspire hard work and nuance and development and growth and just pride. Develop those things by looking and observing and thoughtfully caring about what other people do. That's what I do. Learning how to find your purpose is never going to be easy. In fact, it could be considered one of the most difficult things to do, because so many people in at least the American culture are taught never to go for it. Can't get to college until you do high school. Can't get to high school until you do junior high. Can't get to junior high until you do middle school. Can't get to middle school until you do elementary. There's a system of roadblocks that tell us that we're not ready for whatever. But in reality, let's look at who's creating those. Our school's bells system to switch from class to class has been that way since the Industrial Revolution, when we were in factories working and it was shift change. There's nothing about that that's good for education. I mean, let's be real. American students, when tested globally, are ranked in some of the lowest, with some of the lowest scores in the world on reading comprehension, on math, science. Our history books for high school and college, I mean, just grade school and college, high school, whatever, there's no oversight board that does any fact checking on them. That blows my mind. Not to mention, historians generally feel like creating history books is like a dirty thing only for profit. So a lot of honest people aren't going to do that. And those are the people that have spent their lives discovering things that are truly unique to our earth and how we've gotten here. Before I get off topic, let me go just back to the ikigai. What are you good at? And that's sort of the question. What would you do the rest of your life every day if you could? Also, though, how can you tie it into with what the world needs? How can you do it of service, right? Use a skill that you're good at. Maybe show somebody else how to do it and how much it's helped you get out of a certain point of your life. Then, what do you love? What can you get paid to do? Generally, when you have to think about those first two, you will find a way to get paid. There are opportunities, there are ways that when you start going after things and trying to do things to get to the next level in your goal, even if you don't know what the next level is, just trying to do, you'll be given that opportunity to get paid. Acceptance of the universe's gifts or, taking aways from you, if you will. As soon as acceptance is made, the level up comes almost immediately after. To pull a Bible story into it, I believe it was like Abraham and Isaac, when God said to Abraham, you have to take your son and kill him basically on an altar. And Abraham said, okay, sure. Like, I trust the process. I trust you. And then before it happened, he didn't have to. If you love it, set it free. If it returns, it was meant to be. You'll never lose anything you're not meant to have. And if you're too attached to something, you have to ask yourself why. That is a great moment when you're doing that kind of introspective thinking, that you're able to go ahead and start breaking down those emotions, at least, and why things mean so much to you. At one point, I've cut off my entire family from communication with me because I had to figure out who I am, what I want, where my principles lie. And a lot of times those that care about us the most are the most concerned about our well-being. So they'll save us from any type of risk or, possible harm that we may go through. But the reality is everybody needs to struggle. As humans, we're made to figure things out. So to take away that kind of problem-solving ability from us will take away everything that it is to be a human. I love this quote. Give your kids everything you never had, and they will turn out to be everything you never were. And just like that, there's a quote that says, hard times create strong men create good times create weak men create hard times. And it's a cycle. It doesn't have to be. We can figure out a way to connect with each other. And it's through finding our ikigai. What did Monsters, Inc. tell us, right? Remember the movie Monsters, Inc., where they said it's about scaring and it's about competing against the guy next to you on how to accumulate the most power for the city? And then what happened at the end, though? They found out that laughter was significantly more powerful. It broke their capacitors. That's literally the greatest example of what it is to work with people in collaboration to reach another level instead of working as a competition. But again, subtleties in everyday life are the fact that we use war and combat metaphors and things like in similes to describe things in our lives. It's a dog-eat-dog world. Got to get them before they get me. They're all aggressive competition type things. When in reality, we can all eat at the top together when we help each other get there. You just have to be shown how. People have to take that little leap of faith in themselves. and know they'll be okay. I call it the alrighty spirit. It's going to be all right. You wake up, you're all right. You know? For me, it's all about what I put into my mind. How do I take care of my brain? In the sense that, did you know that walking for 15 minutes without interruption will create like these theta brainwaves in your mind, and that will help you problem solve? Just like when you're in the hot shower and your creativity sparks up, same thing. So I love to walk places. I love to walk home, mile and a half, cool, whatever. That's when I start working on either videos, or I start editing, or I start just noting, just journaling in my phone, just trying to figure things out. Because it opens up a way to think a little bit more clearly, a little bit more constructively. And I know it's uncomfortable to walk, but again, the more challenges that we take away from ourselves as humans, the more entitled and privileged and lazy we will become. We get used to creature comforts, and to be comfortable is to kill you. The newest heart attack is from sitting down in offices for so long. Comfortability will kill us. Single-use appliances are some of the, I think, worst things for humans, in the sense that they just take away little things that give us positive moments of accomplishment in our daily life. I think a lot of people don't take advantage of those little wins every day. They sure as hell complain about the little losses and the little tedious bits that somebody did to them or whatever. But again, as soon as we realize that we create our own happiness and our own heaven or our own hell, the sooner it is that you get to be happy and free. Imagine nobody knows what the future's like, right? So how can somebody talk about heaven being in the future? In the Christian faith, it's looked at as like gold-laden roads and harps and just beautiful sounds, and just, to me, since they can't speak about the future, what I thought about was that to understand you can create your happiness and to perceive things not as negative or positive, but where it all teaches you something, so it's all positive in a sense. That is laying out the gold for your road for the future. That's literally making it to where nothing even negative spoken to you is negative, because chances are constructive criticism is really harsh from those that love you the most, or those that really are going to be the most honest with you. So we have to be aware of that. And it's not easy. It's really not easy, but nothing worth having is. Do you want to start now creating content for yourself so that AI doesn't do it for you in 5 years and you don't sound genuine? Everybody that I create for, I tell them, robots are going to make this in the future so much faster than we ever think we can. So how are you going to show people that you're genuine and you're honest? And what you've been doing since XYZ amount of time. You're not going to get 1 million views the first day you launch anything. Nobody's watching you while you do this, while you practice. Trust me. Basically, I just want to end with this little tidbit that you have everything that you need to go ahead and transform your life. If you're sick and tired of being sick and tired, just try, right? Try doing something. Do what I did, start a blog and tell the who, what, when, where, and why of what you're trying to accomplish. And that will alone help you make a lot of decisions on what you want to do and what you don't want to do. Just try something. 99% of the people that tell me they like my work and stuff like that will never try to do their own thing at all. So as much as their compliments mean something to me, I mean, thanks, but you're not really doing anything with your life, and so what would make your compliment mean something to me? I look at like criticism and compliments coming from the same kind of person, somebody that's done something with their life. That's how I qualify it. A crackhead can thank anybody and also apologize to anybody, whatever they have to do to get their little grubby fix. All right? So I don't allow words to mess with me too much. But just go after it. Just go after it. You got nothing to lose. You got some. Maybe you have bad habits to lose. Maybe, chances are, if you're going to lose anything in this, in going after a dream of yours or trying something to discover a dream of yours, anything you lose is only going to make room for new amazing things for you. I know that's true. It's what's happened in my life and the others that I've also helped. Maybe I'll get some of them to give a testimonial someday. Just know you got this. If nobody else told you this today, I love you. I love that soul inside of you. I love that spirit you offer the world. Don't stop it. Give that world that hope. Give that world that happiness. If you can't, just fake it. Try. Try to pull somebody else out of their bad point in life. If you feel so hopeless, go find somebody else that's hopeless, even more so than you, and help them through it. I promise you it's going to teach you a lot. You got this. It takes a little bit of work, but you got this. Others that are far different than you or me have done more with less. No excuses, all right? Thanks for listening to this. My name's Tex. Tex like Texas. I'm from Waco. And I really hope that you got some value out of this because I know it was a little bit of a long video. Share this with anybody you care for. Rewatch it if you want later. But don't give up on you.